जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा काला चंजी राधा काला चंजी राधे। जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे। जय जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव जय जय सुभद्रा। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल, हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। जय श्री राधा कालाचंद जी भगवान की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. So Today we will be starting the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Very wonderful day for the Kalachanji community to come together to glorify the very essential pastimes of the Supreme Lord. We recite or we narrate the text, right, Mataji? First, everybody will. So let's we do that first, and then we'll do the Sanskrit verse. Right? Okay. So let us collectively we just read the translations from text 1 to 4. The fourth one is the emphasis. So when we reach the fourth, I will recite the Sanskrit shloka, and then we'll all recite it, and then the translation. Okay. So.
Text 1. King Parikshit said, "My dear Lord, you have elaborately described the dynasties of both the moon god and the sun god with the exalted and wonderful character of their kings."
Text 2. O best of Munis, you have also described the descendants of Yadu, who were very pious and strictly adherent to religious principles. Now, if you will kindly describe the wonderful, glorious activities of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, who appeared in that Yadu dynasty with Baladev, his plenary expansion.
Text 3. The Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, Sri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. Please tell me elaborately about his glorious activities and character, from the beginning to the end of his life.
We'll recite. Okay. So we'll recite text 4. Nivrittatasser upagiyamanad bhavau shadachotra manobhiramad ka uttama shloka gunanuvada पुमान विराजेत विना पशुघ्नाद निवृत्य तस्सैर उपगीयमानाद बभौ शदच्छोत्र मनोभिरामाद का उत्तम श्लोक गुणानुवादात् पुमां विरज्येत विना पशुघ्नात् निवृत्य दर्शैरुपगीयमानाम् का उत्तम श्लोक गुणानुवादात् पुमान् विरज्येत विना पशुघ्नात् निवृत्य तस्यैरुपगीयमानात् भावो शदोचत्र विरामात् उत्तम श्लोक गुणानुवादात् पुमान् विराजेत विना पशुघ्नात्. Translation. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul, undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorifications of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In India, it is the practice amongst the general populace to hear about Krishna either from Bhagavad Gita or from Srimad Bhagavatam in order to gain relief from the disease of the repeated birth and death. Although India is now fallen, very powerful statement. Although India is now fallen, when there is a message that someone will speak about Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, thousands of people will still gather to hear. This verse indicates, however, that such recitation of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam must be done by persons completely free from material desires, nivritta tasyair. Everyone within this material world, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant, is full of material desires for sense enjoyment, and everyone is busy in sense gratification. But when thus engaged, one cannot fully understand the value of Krishna Katha, either in the form of Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam. The purport is long, I'll read a few more sentences and then we'll discuss. If we hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from liberated persons, this hearing will certainly free us from the bondage of material activities. But hearing Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by a professional reciter cannot actually help us achieve liberation. Krishna Katha is very simple. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As he himself explains, Matta Parataram Nyanyat Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya. O Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Bhagavad Gita 7.7. Simply by understanding this fact, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become a liberated person. But especially in this age, because people are interested in hearing Srimad Bhagavad Gita from unscrupulous persons who depart from the simple presentation of the Bhagavad Gita and distort it for their personal satisfaction, they fail to derive the real benefit. There are big scholars, politicians, philosophers, and scientists who speak on the Bhagavad Gita in their own polluted way, and people in general hear from them, being uninterested in hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from a devotee. A devotee is one who has no other motive for reciting the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam other than to serve the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhube Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So, very happy and very fortunate to be able to do this service of speaking something for my own purification on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Kalachanji community, and very happy that we are starting the 10th canto. Very excited when I heard from Mother Tulsi Sakhi that we are starting the 10th canto, and it gave me a chance to speak a little bit about it. So the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is considered like the face of the, like, you all understand the Srimad Bhagavatam explains there are even though we commonly hear about the 10 Dashavataras, there are 25 avatars of the Lord that have been explained. Of course, the Lord is infinite, He is Ananta. There are infinite universes, and in each universe He is infinitely and continuously performing pastimes. So, but just for our comprehension, around 25 avatars have been explained. This is in just one day of Lord Brahma, by the way, the Bhagavatam. And Vyasadeva is considered like a literary avatar, expansion of the Lord, and he writing all these scriptures, of which Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost, is considered as a personification. It's a metaphorical understanding of how the Srimad Bhagavatam itself is like the divine form of the Lord. And the first two cantos are like the two lotus feet of the Lord. The next two cantos are like his thighs. The fifth canto is like the navel of the Lord. The sixth is like the chest of the Lord. The seventh and eighth are the arms of the Lord. The ninth is the neck of the Lord. The 10th canto is the face of the Lord. It reveals the sweetness of the Supreme Personality. The 11th is his crown and the 12th is his effulgence. So that's how actually the Acharyas also say that is how we also take darshan of the deities. We first take darshan of the lotus feet, then the thighs, then the navel, then the chest, then the arms, then the face, like that. We go from bottom to the top to take, and then we see the whole beautiful form and capture it in our hearts. That is the recommended process. So similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto is the beautiful effulgent face of the Lord, because that's where the most relishable pastimes of the Supreme Lord in his Purna Purushottam Leela, right? The Lord he himself personally appears and performs his complete, he manifests his full opulences on display. That's why it's Purna Purushottam or Leela Purushottam. And these pastimes have been beautifully captured for times to come. To do what? To get freedom from this repeated cycle of birth and death. Right? That is what this verse says. Bhavaushadhi. It is the medicine. People talk about getting cured from a certain disease to the body, but this is the medicine to be out of the body itself. No need to have this type of temporary experiences, repeated experiences of birth and death, repeated being caught in the illusionary energy of the Lord, and repeatedly experiencing happiness as part of a duality package. Happiness that we experience on the material platform is a part of a package where you also have to experience misery to be able to understand what is happiness. But in the spiritual world, there is only bliss. There is no need to experience misery as a bargain for trying to experience happiness. So the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto is the face. And Prabhupada explains in the beginning of this chapter, even before like a preface to this canto, he gives this, how this 10th canto has like 90 chapters. The first 4 chapters, it describes the prayers of Lord Brahma and the appearance of the Lord as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. And then the next 35 chapters from 5 to 39, they describe the Vrindavan pastimes of the Lord, which are probably one of the sweetest and most nectarine for all the devotees. His Braja Leelas. All of us visit Vrindavan with that hope that we can experience, because the Lord is performing his pastimes eternally, based on how much we can open up our consciousness to those spiritual vibrations, we can experience the same pastimes. So 5 to 39 are the Braja pastimes, out of which 29 to 33 they are called as a Rasa Panchadhyaya. Those 5 chapters are the chapters of the Rasa Leela, with the Lord's complete mercy on all his devotees. And then 31st of that is the Gopi Gita. The 40th chapter is Krishna being moved from Vrindavan to Mathura, Akrura's prayers. 41 to 51 is the Mathura Leela, just 11 chapters on the Leelas of the Lord in Mathura. 47th of the chapter is Brahmara Gita. 52 to 90 are Dwarka pastimes of the Lord. So these pastimes of the Lord, he exhibits all the beautiful exchanges in all the bhavas, the Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Madhuryaras, Vatsalyaras, all these beautiful exchanges, emotional, the highest sentiments, most pure sentiments of love in different forms have been captured in his pastimes in these wonderful cantos in these wonderful chapters. And Srila Prabhupada understood the importance of giving these to the world. That's why when Srila Prabhupada actually in 1944, he started the Back to Godhead magazine back in India, 22 years or 21 years before coming to the US. And he started writing these pastimes of the Lord in the Back to Godhead magazine. And of course, we all know he arrived by the Lord's divine arrangement. He arrived in the US on 17th September 1965, and on 13th July 1966 he established ISKCON. As soon as he saw a little bit of interest and initial disciples who started coming, immediately he registered ISKCON, and he restarted the publication Back to Godhead, and in that he started writing these wonderful pastimes from the 10th canto. Eventually in 1970, even before the Srimad Bhagavatam, other cantos he translated or gave commentaries, he was not sure what the Lord has in future for him in terms of his health, in terms of the amount of support he gets. So he immediately converted these pastimes from the 10th canto into this book called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by the way, that was one of the first books which I heard my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Adhanath Swami Maharaj, it was the first book that somebody gave to him. So Prabhupada understood that these pastimes are the ultimate panacea. Hearing them is like rekindling our lost love, our lost memory. Like in the material world, if somebody loses memory, they try to take the person to the places where the person has been, or explain certain very secret things which the person has, nobody else but that person and few confidential people know. So similarly, the Lord performs his pastimes and his disciplic succession further spreads it so that it gives us that, rekindles our memory of the spiritual sky. So we can develop that lost attraction. The Lord's attraction for us is eternal. He is eternally loving us, caring for us. He is there within our heart, looking after us, hearing each and every desire that we have as Paramatma. But the other way around, the other way around is that channel is not yet active. As much as the Lord loves us, we have forgotten that wonderful, sweetest relation of love with the Lord. And that is what these pastimes rekindle. If we hear them, and not just hear them, it's called, like we discussed, it is called Shravanam and Mananam. You have to also contemplate, not just hear, you have to contemplate. Spend some time just in your mind replaying these beautiful pastimes, understanding the mood of the various devotees who were part of the pastime. That is how the real love develops. So Prabhupada put full emphasis on this 10th canto, specially carved it as a separate book and made it available for people. Even before when Prabhupada came, he just brought, the first canto was the only canto he had translated. There were 3 volumes initially, and what I read and heard, he brought like 200 sets of those in trunks. Because he came through a ship, he was allowed that bigger cargo and he distributed. So anyway, so that is the importance of the wonderful pastimes of the Lord through Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka. Very relishable, very sweet. And we are all honored and fortunate that we will be entering these pastimes through the Bhagavatam classes. I don't know for next how many days or months or years, but it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for all of us to deep dive into the nectarian ocean of these wonderful pastimes of the Lord. I also wanted to speak a little bit about like Prabhupada explains, the impact that has been mentioned, that these pastimes will cure the birth and death. The caveat to that is that it has to be, what did we read? It has to be spoken by a devotee who has no other motive other than to please the Lord, not for any name, fame, glorification, or for money, or for anything else. The only and only desire should be to glorify the wonderful pastimes of the Lord. That is when it becomes the real medicine. And this purity is protected through parampara. So I wanted to speak a little bit on the parampara system. What are the functions of the parampara system and how the Lord has actually very beautifully created these parampara system. So we all understand that the purest knowledge about the Supreme Lord was delivered by the Lord Himself to four personalities at the beginning of creation. It was to Lord Brahma, to Lakshmi Devi, to Shankar, Bhagavan, Rudra, and to the four Kumaras. That's why we have these four disciplic successions, or we call as sampradayas or parampara. So Sri Sampradaya is the knowledge that came down from Mother Lakshmi. Brahma, we, Srila Prabhupada, and our lineage belongs to Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. That is coming from Lord Brahma. The knowledge that came through Lord Shiva or Rudra was the Rudra Sampradaya, and then the four Kumaras is Kumar Sampradaya. So the functions of these Sampradayas are three major functions. The first function is to impart a certain type of flavor or to impart a certain mood in the bhakti. In the cult of bhakti, in the process of bhakti, each of these sampradayas, they impart certain flavor. And that is the first function of the Lord arranging this. And I'll narrate a few beautiful stories of how these systems are interconnected. And it's a transcendental system. It works across time and space. So, Sri Sampradaya, obviously, the main mood is the Dasya Bhav. You can see the recitations, the worship of Lord Ram, the glorification of Hanumanji. There's a lot of Dasya Bhav. It doesn't mean that other bhavas are not present, but there's always a liking or a emphasis given. So Sri Sampradaya imparts the Dasya Bhav. Of course, needless to say, Brahma Sampradaya, and especially through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent in this parampara, it transformed into the Madhurya Ras, the Madhurya Bhav. The Rudra Sampradaya eventually transformed into Pushti Marg through Vallabhacharya. That is the Vatsalya Bhav of the Lord. The Lord is worshipped, even if we go today in Srinathji and many places where the Pushti Marg is predominantly worship the Lord, the bhav is that of a little baby boy. And how there are places in Vrindavan itself where, because he's in the bhav of a baby, they don't wake him up at 5 o'clock in the morning. There is no Mangalarti in certain temples because that bhav is there, that he's a baby, let him sleep longer. He doesn't have to wake up early. So that is the Sampradaya. And then Kumar Sampradaya is a Sakya, the Swakiya bhav. How we can assist Radharani in the bhav of Swakiya. There is a slight difference. I don't want to go into technicalities of Swakiya and Parakiya. But the underlining thing is within the Brahma Sampradaya or Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, we consider, or the mood is Radharani never actually married Krishna formally. So that is called as a Parakiya bhav of Madhurya Ras. And in the Kumara Sampradaya, it is Swakiya bhav, that she is eternally, she did marry and like that. So without going into the details, that is the bhav. So each of the paramparas, they give a certain relishable emphasis to a relishable bhav. And of course, the tilaks also are different. If you see the Sri Sampradaya, they include the red line which represents Mother Lakshmi. So we put tulasi below. The lotus feet of the Lord is common across all the Vaishnava Sampradayas. They may look a little different. We But eventually it's the lotus feet of the Lord, and then the emphasis is on we reach the lotus feet of the Lord via, for us it's Bhakti Devi, so it's Tulsi, the leaf below, what we all wear. For Sri Sampradaya, it is the Lakshmi Ji, that red line. Similarly, Madhva Sampradaya is actually the parent branch. It has a U and a red dot, which is again Radharani. Like that. So it imparts different flavors, and the mantras are also different. In the Sri Sampradaya, the primary mantra is Om Namo Narayanaya. In the Brahma Sampradaya, obviously, since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So each mantra imparts that bhav in that Sampradaya. Similarly, in the Rudra Sampradaya, it is Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. And in the Kumar Sampradaya, it is currently the mantra is Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Sham, Sham Sham, Radhe Radhe. So there are different variations to the same calling out. The whole emphasis of calling out the names of the Lord with different flavors is there in the Sampradaya. So that is the first function that the various paramparas, they give different, it's like a basket. And based on the inclination of the soul can get attracted to a certain Sampradaya. It doesn't mean that Sampradaya does not provide you any other rasas. It's just like the emphasis or a preliminary mood. The second and more important function of the Lord arranging this disciplic succession is to protect. Like we discussed, the various pastimes of the Lord and everything that we hear, glorification of the Lord, it is effective only when the purity is there. And the Sampradaya, the disciplic succession, provides that protection. How does it provide a protection? By protecting the purity and protecting the authenticity of this knowledge. So, if we see, since this knowledge comes all the way from, we can say, time immemorial in terms of our lifespan, coming all the way from Lord Brahma, it has to be protected. There is every chance that with time it can be diluted or it can be misinterpreted. And it has happened in the history. Just like, we all experience the power of the electrical energy in our lives, in our day-to-day life. It can also do the function of heating up the house, it can cool the house, it can mow your lawns, it can, but the original source is some powerhouse somewhere. And then how does it reach us? It reaches us through that network. There are lines that are laid, miles and miles, thousands of miles of lines are laid for that energy to be transferred. And there are poles at different points. And there are something called as transformers, which with transmission, the voltage gets low. Then again the voltage is spiked and then it continues for a certain distance. And the voltage starts to drop. And again there is a transformer, which again rejuvenates the energy till it reaches our house at the required voltage to run. Similarly, the Sampradaya, the Lord's arrangement, He keeps sending great personalities through this vast ocean of time and space to keep strengthening this knowledge or to keep reviving the purity and the authenticity of the knowledge. That is the parampara. So, in the 11th and the 16th centuries are two very prominent centuries where we will see by the divine arrangement of the Lord, so many personalities appeared. In each sampradaya, there is a personality who appeared to revive and provide that special flavor. So, in the 11th century, in the Sri Sampradaya, Sripad Yamunacharya ji, Ramanujacharya ji, they appeared. In the same century, Madhvacharya appeared. I think Madhvacharya appeared a century later, but more or less around that time, Sripad Madhvacharya appeared in the Brahma Sampradaya. Vishnu Swami appeared in the Rudra Sampradaya. And Nimbakacharya appeared in the Kumar Sampradaya. That is the 11th century. So that's how it rejuvenates. And then in the 16th century, in the same vein, in the same purpose, the Supreme Lord, he sent another powerful set of personalities in each sampradaya. In Sri Sampradaya, we had Ramananda Acharya. Of course, in Madhva Sampradaya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, prior to them, Sripad Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then his disciples, Raghunath Das Goswami, Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and then from them Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj, all of them, they appeared in the 16th century. In the Rudra Sampradaya, Sripad Vallabhacharya appeared in the 16th century. And in the Kumar Sampradaya, Hari Vyasadeva Acharya appeared. So this is how the Lord's divine arrangement protects and revives the purity of this knowledge with time. And like I said, purity and authenticity both have to be protected for this to stay available as the cure for repeated birth and death. And this is a divine system. So I would like to share two stories on how this protection can be experienced. I mean, we all know, like I said, in our sampradaya, in our lineage, I'll speak about obviously Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. How from Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, then their disciples Jipa Goswami, who was their nephew, Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baldev Vidya Bhushan, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, and then all the spiritual sons of Prabhupada. So these personalities, it's part of a transcendental system. When after the 6 Goswamis, they left the planet, there was a dip in there was too much of concoction, there was a lot of speculation. But Jiva Goswami, he had meticulously taken time to write down these scriptures. And in the 16th century, there were no printing press and things like that. It had to be written down manually as manuscripts. So Jiva Goswami made many copies of the writings of the 6 Goswamis. And he entrusted Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and Shyamanand Pandit, 3 of the great personalities, to go and distribute this. Like, take these and go and preach in different parts. And there is a story, I'll go fast on this story because I have one more, a last story, which is really very amazing, which is much more contemporary in this. It actually happened. So in this particular century, or right now as we speak. So Srinivas Acharya and these 3 personalities, the other 2 personalities, they took these manuscripts and they were told to go. They were traveling. They were asked to go and spread this knowledge in Puri, in Bengal, and all over the places. And at one point they reached a place called, it's called Mallabhumi, and it is basically in modern day West Bengal. Those times these were like provinces, considered like districts and mayors of the district. Even the mayor was called like the king. There was a king called King Bir Hambir, and he would follow an astrologer, and the astrologer told him that very soon a great treasure will come into your place. You have to capture it. He did not understand. He felt that treasure means only money. So when Srinivas Acharya and all these great personalities, imagine they are carrying the responsibility of the only manuscripts available of the 6 Goswamis, and they were carrying it in trunks, wooden trunks, and eventually they took rest in this place. And the king, because he had sent his spies all over, the mayor, you can call it the king of that province, he had sent spies to find out, and they found that there is a group of travelers they have brought something in big trunks. So he asked them to steal it. It was stolen, And Srinivas Acharya and the other two great devotees, when they realized the next morning that they were stolen, they were so ashamed that we were given the responsibility to carry these teachings of the six Goswamis, and we could not really do justice to it. So Srinivas Acharya told the other two, Shamanand Pandit and Narottam Das Thakur, that you please continue on the journey with whatever you can, you preach. Narottam Das Thakur started writing further poetry. And Shamanand Pandit went to Puri and Narottam Das Thakur went to Bengal. And Srinivas Acharya decided to stay back to find out what happened. And long story short, it was eventually he learned that the king is now actually creating assemblies. What had happened is that when the king stole it and he opened it, he was disappointed to see only like palm leaves and not gold coins and things that he was expecting from the treasure. But he was so attracted to the beautiful handwriting. It was mesmerizing to him that what is such a beautiful handwriting. So he called his pandits and said, please read from this and tell me what's going on. And the various wise people, he started creating like assemblies. Everybody come and try to interpret and tell me what's written in it. And Srinivas Acharya heard about this, that this king is now doing some kind of assembly. So he decided to disguise himself and he went. And in that assembly, when people would struggle to decipher the understanding of what Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami said, he would stand up, raise his hand and explain, And then the king started noticing that who is this person who is like explaining so beautifully. And eventually he Srinivas Acharya revealed that these are the teachings from our Sampradaya, our Guru. And then the king took initiation and like that. So, and then the books were returned, and that's how these teachings, they still survive. They survived, through the parampara system. They survived for all of us, or maybe in future. And Srila Prabhupada was one of the powerful acharyas who was, since there were printing press available, he focused so much on printing. This is the month of book distribution, right? So Srinivas Acharya is the acharya of book distribution. He is the one who actually started this and protected it for us to further it, for the protection of this. And then the final story I wanted to share, the story was shared by one of my godbrothers, His Grace Rajavihari Prabhu. When he was here in Dallas, he told this story to us in person. And then he, now late, I think a month or so ago, he also spoke on, because it was, for him, it was very confidential. He didn't want to share this because the devotee around whom this revolves, he didn't want it to be revealed. But eventually, I think with his permission, he shared it, and now it is also available on YouTube. If you haven't heard it, I will repeat it for your pleasure and my purification. This is just again explaining how the parampara system is transcendental and how it's across time and space and how it protects. That is the theme that I was trying to share. So this is the story of, His Grace Rajavihari Prabhu mentions that back in 1995, in Radha Gopinath temple, when the temple was like now, Radha Gopinath temple is like the ideal, is one of a role model for community development, devotee care, and so many initiatives. Annamrita, Gopal's Garden School, Bhaktivedanta Hospital, GV, and what have you. There are so many, so wonderful manifestations of that community coming together in service to please Guru and Gauranga. But in 1995, it was a small community. Very few people, very few disciples, brahmachari disciples of Maharaj, Sunil Radhanath Maharaj. One day, a boy who was in his 8th grade, he was just a 13-year-old boy, he walked into the temple of Sri Radha Gopinath. And Maharaj was doing Guru Puja. He was playing Mridanga personally. And this boy walked in, and Maharaj spotted him. And after the Guru Puja, Maharaj, usually His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is very reserved person. He doesn't he's very grave most of the times. It's not easy to even, unless there is something to discuss in terms of service. Usually he doesn't talk otherwise. And to everybody's surprise, Maharaj walked up to this boy And he said something to that effect. To my memory, I'm trying to recollect what Prajvihari Prabhu said. He said, are you here to look for Krishna? Are you here to take shelter of Krishna? Like that, Maharaj mentioned to this boy. And this boy, 13-year-old boy, out of humility, said, yes, Maharaj, I'm here to take shelter of Krishna. And Maharaj laughed, and then, he just left. And Prajvihari Prabhu said that I witnessed this conversation. I was